Hello, and welcome back to Coin Lady channel. In this video, I'd like to tell you about some recent developments involving a Bitcoin spot ETF. I hope I've conveyed to you how crucial I see the next bull markets beginning to be. I'm not going to break out the video's latest revelations about information that shows a Bitcoin spot ETF could be ready within the next few days. This might have a dramatic effect on the price of Bitcoin. It's a fresh impetus for expanding liquidity. Don't miss out on it. Seriously, that's a lot. At the end of the movie, I'd also like to share some legal insights into whether or not the SEC will file an appeal, as well as some background on the previous SEC case. It has been widely speculated on Twitter that the reason Brad and Chris's SEC charges were dropped was because they filed an appeal on the Ripple case earlier. In this video, I'll show you why two of the smartest lawyers in town don't necessarily agree with that assessment. Also, be able to hold an enlightening conversation on the Bitcoin spot ETF. For the past few weeks, this has been my main topic of conversation. Because of the length of this article, I won't go into why I think the launch of a Bitcoin spot ETF will be such a game changer for the market. Like a nutshell, once financial institutions acknowledge the SEC's ineffectiveness regulating this sector. Since the introduction of these ETF products will serve as a catalyst for a massive influx of new liquidity into the cryptocurrency market, established financial institutions will want to get a jump on the action as soon as they realize this. And they are planning to use this to their advantage. Because of this, the introduction of Bitcoin spot ETFs will signal a significant shift in the cryptocurrency market. It's inevitable that institutional investors like 401k, IRA, and pension funds will start putting money into the Bitcoin market. The consumers who possess these items have no idea they are supporting this technology. Instead of being understood only by enthusiasts and retail speculators, the actual game changers are now investing trillions of dollars in this asset class. If you don't think organizations are eager to lead that effort, I can't provide much advice. That's why I think Bitcoin spot ETFs are so important. To prove how much closer we are to these things than most people think, I want to share some alarming information with you. I'd want to start by showing you this video of Cathie Wood talking about her application for approval of her Bitcoin spot ETF, because I think you'll find something really interesting in the way she's talking about it. Listen to her out, and then we'll break it down to see why a spot Bitcoin ETF needs your approval. Tell us about any communications you had with the SEC about your application in the course of this operation. Shouldn't we be someplace else? It was published and revealed, so yes. Our response, my guess is that the SEC has questions about the Bitcoin report we submitted last week. And really all we can say is that many people seem to think that my questioning the SEC indicates a behavioral shift. Because of this, I think there's rising anticipation that the SEC may approve many Bitcoin ETFs rather than simply rejecting these claims. That's a very encouraging sign. In order to get their product approved, they are now working with these organizations. As important as it is for the organization to offer these Bitcoin spot ETFs declines, it is equally necessary to understand who exerts pressure on the lawmakers in this situation. They will only take so much of this before saying, "Hey, we're giving you money. We're helping out the campaign financially." We need verification that the market we intend to bring our products to is safe and regulated. While the SEC has been standing in the way of these groups receiving the funds they need to support his political operatives, I don't think that will be the case for much longer. We followed all of your recommendations because there are many other groups urging the SEC to greenlight this venture. I think the SEC's opinion of these items is shifting dramatically right now. Even stranger, the DTC just published BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF on their trading site despite the fact that it has not yet been certified. In case you were wondering, DTCC is the largest clearinghouse in the world and its managers are well-versed in all things related to the stock market. Because of this, I think it says a lot about where these large institutions want to take the approval of the BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF that they are openly displaying its ticker. I took this as a pretty strong hint that exciting times are ahead. In addition to ignoring them and urging them to leave, try actually doing so. Gary Jester is now working with all of these groups to have the necessary paperwork filed. I think we are seeing the SEC drastically alter its operations in response to the tremendous pressure they are under. This is exactly what I've been saying would happen. I must admit that I miscalculated the original source of the pressure. I had thought Congress would be the one to do it, but it appears the SEC has caved in, which will encourage institutional investors to once again put money into this sector. Generally speaking, these are exemplary signs. In addition, a cursory look at Bitcoin's reaction reveals that it is currently climbing to new record highs. That's what we were anticipating would happen. And yes, I know there will be a few nitpickers in the comments who remind me that it's Bitcoin and not XRP. When analyzing Bitcoin, why do we care? Folks? The XRP/Bitcoin correlation is typically slow and time-consuming. When it finally does move, however, it always does so far more rapidly and dramatically. These Bitcoin spot ETFs are a major factor in Bitcoin's recent growth. More importantly, I think a major shift is coming to the Bitcoin market in general. Let's talk about what's next in the SEC action against Ripple to conclude up this video. After the SEC dropped the charges against Brad and Chris, many people, especially those outside of the XRP community, began spreading a rumor on Twitter that the SEC only did so in anticipation of an appeal. Those people were basically right when they said the SEC couldn't launch an appeal until the case was over. Also, they are eager to file an appeal of the current case. The case against Brad and Chris was dropped because of this. And the only way to do it was to put an end to the allegations against Brad and Chris without taking them to trial. They have a point to an extent, but they are missing an important point. The punishment for Ripple's institutional sales, which were treated as securities, has not yet been announced. In addition, a decision on whether or not Ripples must pay the whole amount asked by the SEC will not be made for another 6 to 9 months. I highly doubt that, and a smaller degree is the more plausible explanation. Many people are overlooking the fact that the SEC cannot immediately file an appeal. What I want to get into here, though, is the SEC's prospects of winning an appeal if they file one today. After crunching the numbers, Jeremy Hogan estimated that they had a 2% probability of getting clearance and offering us a percentage. You are now facing this ordeal alone. Jeremy Hogan has shown remarkable precision and has made almost no errors. To add insult to injury, he thinks his appeal against the SEC has very little chance of success. Also, he predicts that this won't happen until 2026, so keep that in mind. Gary Gensler may have long since left the SEC. It's be that the rules of the road in the United States are so clear that there's no use in losing to Rippling. The major point I want to highlight is that Jeremy Hogan is correct when he says that the Ripple SEC litigation is effectively over in this tweet. In fact, Rispoli, a legal acquaintance of mine, agrees with you. He thinks the SEC is ready to wrap up their investigation into the claims made against Brett and Chris by calculating the statistics and filing a motion to dismiss the case. In the XRP community, there are two very bright solicitors who are looking into this and saying they don't think the SEC will actually pursue an appeal. I'm obligated to give them my blessing, too. Many in the cryptocurrency community are currently yelling that the SEC will appeal this guy's case, but those who have been right all along, who I believe are normally right, are not so confident. The SEC suffered a serious defeat because of the Ripple case. They were embarrassed, and I think the SEC would do well to begin pestering other members of the industry if they want any hope of success in the future. I think it's time they moved on to easier cases and started going after the real criminals. Okay, friends, I hope you enjoyed this status report. It would mean a lot if you could click the like button and subscribe. See you later, bye.